So, hello everyone. Today I have a very interesting guest.
You hope.
I hope, yeah. Actually, yeah, I hope because I don't know him that well. His name is Tobias Lars. But more about about him is what he's going to tell by himself. So, Tobias, I would like to ask you something. What do you usually say to someone that asks you who you are?
It will depend on who's asking, of course,
Okay.
and from what place they're asking and what the situation is. If someone asks me in the regular matrix world, and I'm not saying it prejudicially or judging it, we have a Truman Show, a matrix we live on the planet. I mean, let's just be real. So if someone asks me, so what do you do? Then I will, depending in the moment, I will feel exactly what might be the right answer. I might say, oh, I do spiritual trips, or we have a small travel business. I might say that because it fits a box. Say, oh, okay, great. And then they move on. If it's someone who's a person that's been on the awakening path for a long time and I can tap into that, I might do whatever spontaneously shows up. I might say, they say, so what was the question? Who are you? Or yeah. I say, well, I'm not sure, moment to moment. or just something fun, spontaneous, But yeah, dear to the analyst's heart. Now that can be like an analyst, meaning keeping track, a historian, or an analyst, which I joke about, that is a little myopic and, they need all the details. Yeah, I'm born in Sweden, raised in a very scientific household. My father was a nuclear physicist. My mother was an artist. They took us when I was 13 to the United States, which was good. It's good to break the box. We just talked about it before of our little cultures. And then I was an athlete and just a good student, and life was easy and fun and so forth. And then when I was 19 years old, I had at my university dorm in my little room one night, I started getting interested in spiritual things, the Tao Te Ching. Something started changing. Instead of just being an athlete, we were good athletes. We had good soccer teams, football teams, a swimming team. We were nationally ranked and all that. But it wasn't enough. I was ready to move. Like we all are, our souls, there's little time release capsules for our souls. Like we're kept here, and then, okay, our oversoul, our friends, our own soul says, time for another awakening for you. So that happens when I'm 19 years old. And one night I'm opening a book that has yoga positions in it. I've never thought of yoga. I've heard of it maybe. and I see the positions, just pictures, drawings actually. And I go, oh, I want to try them. So I lay some blanket down and I try them. And when I try them, they're like keys in a lock, like click. Like it's some kind of, and I've realized later, we have holographic languages. We have multidimensional languages. Some of the Hebrew alphabet, if you put them in 3D, these are actual symbols and sigils and powers, and so is the Sanskrit. Well, anyway, the yoga positions can be this also. But I realized later I'd done yoga other lifetimes, several lifetimes. So it was like a reignition, like click, and I go, oh my God, I'm spiraling out of my head. My heart slows down. I don't breathe comfortably, not holding my breath. And I would have undeniable to my young scientific mind, because I was doing a scientific degree, this is something real. And then at one point I went to the nurse's office just to check something. And I did this little method that I was shown from my inside. No one taught me yoga. It came back to me that night. It just flooded in like a download. There you go. And I did it for 7 years every day after that, every night. Sadhana is what it's called with yogis, your actual practice. But I went to the nurse's station. I remember doing this parasympathetic relaxing thing, with just the way you do prana yoga Kriya Yoga, and my heart would stop for like 3 beats. Like it would just stop. Because it would pause. It's a pause. And this is in between life and death. If you read Yogis, Patanjali's yoga stuff, it's the disjoining of the in and out breath. It's the crack in the worlds, right? So this was happening naturally for me. I'm just 19. And it was so funny to watch. She'd go, "There's something wrong with my stethoscope." Right? And I had enough sense. Later in life, I don't have enough sense. I talk too much about things, but I'm getting better at that now. So I said nothing, just, that's very interesting. Wow, that's real, it's not just what I feel. So that was the beginning, like, something more going on here. And so I started doing yoga for, like I said, 7 years, vegetarian, just following yogic stuff and not fanatic. I was still doing other things. And that started the whole spiritual awakening. Once you awaken, it's hard to go back to sleep.
Yeah.
Right? So this is what's so beautiful right now on the whole planet. We have 800 million people. These are my words. These are my spiritual statistics that I make up directly because it's much easier and much quicker to get direct information through your solar plexus than doing all the lab research. Come on, get real. But so about 20% of the planet are people that are like, there's something wrong, or I don't just want to follow the system. So 20% of 7 billion people, 1.4 billion, whatever. But I guessed about 800 million people are ready, a little bit less than 20%. They're really ready on the planet. That's a lot of people. A lot of times people feel, I'm all alone. There's no one else waking up. My parents are crazy. The system wants me to become a banker or pharmacist or whatever. And we can feel alone. But I want people listening. No, and I know in your part of the world, there's a huge wave. All throughout Slovenia, Croatia, the whole thing. Like, there's something there. I did a talk maybe a year and a half ago when there was a conference there via remote. Mm-hmm. But I can feel there's like a wave of freshness because you guys already went through the destruction. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I mean? The Yugoslavia breaks up, and all the crapola that went on in Bosnia and all that crap. But so you've purged a lot. So that means you've made room after the storm for something new. So there's a real awakening there. Very beautiful. Other parts of the world are going to hit these things also, all the old systems need to be cracked, or new growth, new thing coming. And there's millions, 800 million people or a billion people on the planet that are ready for something new, step by step. They may not be ready for, okay, there's 23 ET races on the far side of the moon, right? You know what I mean? But step by step, just do that one thing at a time. Just watch the Thrive movie. Go slow, go easy, So, but I've been at it for a long time now, about 30-some years. And I love it. It gets better and better. Real awakening. So I did yoga for a while. And then I learned the nature kingdom right here in Arizona. I'm looking at about 30 miles that way. There's a mountain range called the Superstition Mountains that has really magic, sort of like the Bermuda Triangle. It's kind of one of these interdimensional portals. And one of the United States Air Force bases used to lose their planes out there, and they eventually had to close the base. But it's a magical place, the Superstition Mountains. In the movie that Disney made, Carter, about they go to Mars, the Carter Chronicles or something like this. It's a famous movie, but it was kind of shut down because it told a little too much truth about Mars. But the opening scene in there, they go to a secret cave in these mountains, the Apache Cave of Tears, the Apache Cave, the Lost Dutchman. This is very real. So I spent a summer out there opening to nature, to other dimensions, meeting beings in other dimensions, UFOs, things like this. So that was the second wave for me when I was about 30 years old. And then at a certain point, Spirit said, okay, you need to start sharing this stuff. You should put it out there. So I wrote a book called Listening to the Sun or Awakening Souls that is very, very honest about my personal journey, meeting the angel of death. I mean, he's a real being, It's the angel of liberation, the angel of transition. all about what sexuality really is, what the energies of that, and the emotions are the key. For example, on Earth, we are a galactic experiment. There's only a few. I'm going to give a bunch of information here. There's only a few planets, really. There's a forefront avant-garde experiments going on in our galaxy, which has to do with, just like America was in a sense, hopefully it'll still keep going, we'll see, a melting pot, an opening for peoples around the world to come and do something new, come and be yourself. And there's certain planets in our galaxy that are like this also, like a new experiment. Earth is one of those planets, which is why there's a mix of very, very different species on this Earth from different parts of the galaxy. Mm-hmm. There's very head-oriented spirits that are like alien, ET, very just like, Spock. They're very mental, right? And then there's people that are here like the Aborigines from Australia who are very earthy, and they work in dream time and they don't work in linear time, for example. So Earth is a melting pot, a galactic melting pot to create a new galactic human. Mm-hmm. There are other star systems that are very peaceful. You go to the Pleiades or towards the center of the galaxy. They would be like, imagine tall beings that collect librarian information, but they never ever lose their emotional shit.
Okay.
Right? That's real. Now, so there's a mix on Earth to try to create a full spectrum human. And emotions are a key to this. We've made emotions bad. Most experienced humans have with emotions is, if you get really, really honest, then things get very dangerous, right? If Jesus gets a little bit honest, he gets killed. Yeah. Right? Krishna gets on, they try to kill him. They try to kill everybody who gets a little bit honest, right? Mm-hmm. John Lennon, I don't know, John F. Kennedy, it doesn't matter, right? The fact that John F. Kennedy, 1 month before his assassination, had decided to put America back on the silver certificates, meaning real solid money, gold and silver. Yeah. And also, he had told the DIA and I was going to say the KGB, but it's the same thing, CIA, that I need all the information on the ETs, on the UFOs. He had said that. But that's going to pry into some behind-the-scenes stuff. So yes. So one of the main things that Spirit showed me, he said, are you ready? Are you done being a little good yogi, Tobias? And you can spiral out of your head and, you can move into other dimensions and go astral traveling. I've got something else for you if you're open to it. Mission Impossible. Right? Which is to work with helping us realize that the emotional system of humans is, in fact, the unique nuance. We have, imagine only painting with 5 colors. And then all of a sudden, you get an unlimited palette of mixtures of colors. That artist would be very excited. Mm-hmm. But he would also have to learn it for a while. Or, wow, there's so much opportunity. So Earth is an experiment with creating different parts of the galaxy. And we're not the only one. The universe doesn't put all its eggs in one basket. But to learn to become a God factory. A God factory, meaning we'll be able to, Earth's destiny is to create beings. And there's forerunners, Krishna, Jesus, ayahuasca, Mother Mary, many, many saints. But that we'll be able to travel galactically and actually create solar systems and planets. Okay. That's the incubation that's happening on Earth. This is a tall order, and there's a lot of old fear and fighting and control and Star Wars and, this type of stuff. Quote, the dark side and the light side, contending on Earth because it's going to have ripple effects across this galaxy. Mm-hmm. So this is that time, and many, many brave souls from many parts of the galaxy and the Earth spirits. About 15% of humans are not from here. Mm-hmm. Statistically, you've got, I'm from the Pleiades, I'm from Arcturus, I'm from Sirius. Yeah, it's true. But you're here now, and you came for a reason.
Yeah.
So, there's a beautiful big experiment going on, but it's difficult. It takes brave souls to come here because it's a new map. It's learning to work with emotions. Like the little gray guys that are coming, they don't have emotions, the little Zeta Reticuli. And so they are realizing some of them. I was shown this 20-some years ago when they started showing up in my room. I said, who are these guys? I don't really like them. Get out. And God told me, said, well, that's what they are. And it's turned out to be true. They are a timeline that goes all the way down sexless and emotionless, cloning stuff, and they reach a dead end. And then some of them are human souls, and they're coming back here, abducting themselves to get the DNA and so forth. And that's what it's turning out to be. But, go ahead.
I was thinking, I heard that actually the Greys are, in a way, our future, part of our future.
Some of the humans alive today go down that timeline. Okay. See, yes, exactly. It's true. This is where we incept it. This is where the human genome, we start tinkering with the DNA in this timeline right here, right now. When I was in school, actually, I almost became a geneticist because they were just doing the human genome at the time, completing it. But yes, and there's good evidence. Basically, the rationale is, basically, emotions and physicality and sex causes a lot of trouble. I understand the reasoning. So they decide we're going to go cloning and remove the emotions, and we're going to become like the Borg, like little ants, really, right? But the problem is when you clone and you asexually, without sex, reproduce, you get weaker and weaker life force, just like you do with wheat or whatever, So yeah, they reach a dead end where they are dying out completely. And some of the Zeta Reticuli then call out and say, okay, we remember a distant past when we had vigor, we had life force. And the universe supplies, where we have free will, so you can go down alternate timelines, artificial ones. They are trapped in 4D, the Zeta Reticuli. They can do 3D and 4D, but they can't go any higher because they have gotten rid of their emotions. And the emotions are the fuel, life force, the nuance, the joie de vivre, the fun. That's why we go to movies, to get moved, right? And so this is but so some of them are coming back, and the universe and its infinite solution capability says, yes, come on back to where you started, and you're allowed to abduct yourself.
Exactly yourself.
Yes, and sometimes other people that have a soul agreement. The vast majority, 80% of it is they're abducting themselves and getting their own DNA. But it's so far removed in the future, a billion years or so, that it's scary for people. But this is what I was shown in 20 years ago. They showed me this whole thing, and that's what it's turning out to be true. Finally, all the UFO researchers are coming around to it, that they're coming back to get hybrid DNA and stuff like that. For the Greys. The Greys are only one little aspect of humanity's future that goes down a dead end. They try it. Let's get rid of sex and have emotions and clone ourselves and see what happens. Well, there you go. For a billion years, you tried that, and now you realize it doesn't work. Right?
Yeah.
But we're free to explore timelines. It's the free will thing. So that's just one example. And so I'm a proponent, encourager of the organic timeline.
Okay.
That's what I'm interested in. Nothing wrong with artificial intelligence or becoming the Greys or whatever. If you want to go explore that. But I'm not interested in that. I've seen it. Artificial intelligence anywhere in this galaxy always turns out bad for organic life forms.
But doesn't it that artificial intelligence is right now actually, in a way, controlling what is happening here on this planet right now? Or is at least trying to become even more...
There's a battle.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Sure. Artificial intelligence has a very strong limitation that we don't. The suns in our galaxy talk to each other instantly. There's no time.
Yeah.
Okay. artificial intelligence is limited by a very, very, very slow speed, which is the speed of light.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Huh? Okay.
Artificial intelligence cannot jump faster than the speed of light because it is caught inside the material universe, of which light is the first manifestation.
Interesting.
Let there be light.
Yeah, that's why they say that actually. Yeah, yesterday I was listening to David Icke and he was talking about speed of light, which is something limited to the artificial intelligence.
Interesting.
Yeah. And
well, there you go. You got it twice.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. Yeah.
Funny how synchronicity, when you think of something,
yeah.
it keeps coming, and that's one thing we're awakening to. But yeah, so I'm a proponent of this new God-human, galactic human being, which includes emotions. And emotions are my particular work with people, to get people to accept, okay, you're having a feel, let the feelings, because it's energy, tons of life force. But we've been trained by the system has been, no, because it's been dangerous. You know, if you let love out, you're going to murder each other, right? There's going to be some love triangle, you know, and right? That's been the history on it. Romeo and Juliet, the highest model for romance. What happens? Double murder, suicide. It's not a healthy and happy ending. You know what I'm saying? So this is for humans to learn to be masters, cooperative masters, not controlling masters, of true divine emotion is the rocket fuel. All the kundalini is all that, the sex force, the emotional force. To learn to ride that, to cooperate with it, is what truly makes gods.
What about, now that we're talking about emotions, you know, I'm a heart math coach, so we were talking a lot about that they are not bad and good emotion, but they have bad or good influence on our body, you know. So when you talk about emotions, you're probably talking about feeling every emotion, but then when you experience, for example, an emotion that has a negative effect on your body, what do you think? What do you think about that? What should you do?
I'm gonna stretch the box of Dr. Emoto and heart math and all that. Those are all steps. It's true, but in the big perspective, our own programming and belief systems. Look at the word belief. Be the lie. Right? You get an F. Okay? But, you know, if you buy into a belief, so it is for you. I'll give you an example. One of my closest friends was the first acupuncturist in Boston, Massachusetts, ever. Okay? Back in the late 60s.
Okay.
And he was afraid of getting prosecuted for practicing medicine without a license, because acupuncture is really weird at the time. But the way the universe did it, Cambridge is where Harvard is. The chief of police of Cambridge was his first client. And it really helped him a lot. And he said, don't worry, no, I need my treatments, we're good, you know? So this is how the universe often helps us when we introduce new things. But he had a young client and he'd play spa music, some fucking nice new age music, okay? And all that stuff. And this young kid would come in, he's like 17 or 18, and he couldn't relax. So the treatments weren't really working well for him. And my friend Keith said, well, to the universe, to God, to source, well, what can we do? And the universe said, just tell him to bring in his own music. So he brought in stuff, I don't know, like the Sex Pistols and the Ramones at the time, you know, some discordant music, you understand?
Yeah.
Now Majo Emoto, the guy in Japan with the water crystals and all that shit. Now, I'm doing this on purpose, the shit and the fuck and all this, to break up, because we get stuck in these belief systems. And as you believe, that's the biggest placebo effect.
I agree.
Yeah. Right. So then, when the kid came in, he's playing this stuff, he relaxed and he could get treated. And it really helped him. Here's the thing. When you say, oh, Bach music makes beautiful water crystals, and Metallica makes discordant, horrible water, it's not true. It's true with the observer effect, if you believe it. Yeah. So that's a deeper thing, but you work with people where they're at. You don't shock them. You work step by step. A true master works step by step. So there are places of obvious, that feels good to me right now. And that's feeling bad in my vibrational field, you know, whatever that is. But that varies being to being. The young kid wanted whatever it was at the time, you know. The Ramones are not the most quiet thing. This is back in the 70s. And so, yeah, so there's a deeper truth there. But yes, any system, now I'm going to shock you, this is what I teach. There's direct transmission in my seminars that I do, and I'm not the doer. I'm very clear that I've worked at this or done this for 3,000 lifetimes or whatever, right? To be able to be a transmitter. It's called Shaktipat. It's called, as one tuning fork vibrates, it can affect others. So often in my groups lately, there's moments of like Shaktipat, like actually the energy infusing people. It comes into the room. I can't command and demand it, but it's some kind of grace. And I had a scientist recently when it was happening go, what's going on, Tobias? This is scaring me. Right? And I go, no, it's okay. It's what's called the Holy Spirit or Kundalini. You'll be fine. You know, just relax. Just go with it, you know? And so that is beyond belief systems. That, the life force, the Tao, is beyond the black and the white. Those are divided and conquered, knowing the knowledge of good and evil. But humans are learning how our concepts affect our reality. So the laboratory is your own belief systems, whether conscious. Most people's belief systems are unconscious because they're just programmed in with school, television, whatever beliefs, culture. Culture, the word culture, the first 4 letters is a cult. So we all grow up in our own culture, which we assume it's just how it is, which, you know. So humans are in a beautiful spiritual physics laboratory experiment about learning. As I believe, as I expect, so I get. And this can be scary because we can put ourselves into all kinds of hells, you know, because of our beliefs, our programmed or semi-conscious belief systems. But this is the only way to learn, because that's the experiment on Earth, is a free will experiment to play with fire, right? Promethean fire.
So
and we are the creators. We are the deciders, the creators, the ones that are on the awakening path. There's also a large chunk of humans that are not ready for real awakening, if we're honest about it.
So I give you an example. For example, gluten, let's say, now is very popular.
Yes.
So basically, this
the
is
devil, gluten.
Yeah, what I believe. It's like in some, let's say, in our Earth consciousness or something like that, gluten is very bad or something like that. But when you realize maybe this and start to live out of your beliefs, you can go over this belief, so that it doesn't affect you really.
Very true. All masters, but you have to go through the steps. The danger is you have to let people start exactly where they're at. You know what I mean? You can't jump ahead. You can't, because it has to be real. It has to be integrated into your bones, into your cells, into your vibrational field. But yes, every master, I'll give you one. Paramahansa Yogananda is very famous, right? Yeah. Autobiography of a Yogi. He's one of my teachers. I've met him in spirit several times. And I'm a Kriyaban. I went through the whole thing. I loved it. But I could never join the organization. It wasn't my job, you know, to be part of it, you know, like that. But there's a story he used to do this. True masters are beyond the rules. So here's Yogananda, vegetarian, of course, food's important. He has a whole thing in his lessons about food and this and that and the other, right? And he meets another man that I know is a follower of another Indian avatar, Sai Baba. And they're having dinner. This is before, way back in the 50s or something. And this man who ends up not following Yogananda says, well, we went to dinner and he did this whole thing on vegetarianism to talk, and then he ate 4 hamburgers at dinner. True story, right? Now, that's an advanced story. Why? Because the master, who knows? It could have been because you're not supposed to follow me, so I need to show this to you so you get away from me. Who knows why? The guy who started macrobiotics in America, Michio Kushi, just passed away a year or two ago. Again, my good friend with the acupuncture, he was his right-hand man when they started the first bag of brown rice, opened in America. They started a store called Erewhon. They were working, and this guy Michio would levitate. He would float, in front of 300 people. And Keith was his right-hand man. He said, you become the president of the company. We're going to start the food company. And my friend wisely said, no, the vice president better, so I don't have so much responsibility. And but when him and Michio would go out to dinner, invariably, or even at the large functions where they're cooking macrobiotically, this is the first sort of healthy eating coming in, you understand? Way back in the late 60s, yeah. And you're supposed to, it's rebalance the body from the salt and meat diet from most Americans at the time. Well, Michio would have fun after preaching about it, talking about the evils of white flour at the time. This is 1968, and the sugar. No one else was saying that at the time. Refined sugar and gluten crap, bad, right? But Michio at the end sometimes would go around and give everybody a cookie. And everybody would think Gloria Swanson is there, Shirley MacLaine, all these famous people from Hollywood. They had a Hollywood mansion, the old Al Jolson Hollywood mansion. And Michio would go around and leave them this little cookie. And they'd all go, oh my God, it tastes great. Wonder how they made that. They must get the recipe. That's amazing. No sugar. It's unbelievable. No. They were pure little sugar cookies. Just to fuck with them. To mess with our systems, because as humans, the deeper thing to undo is to be caught in boxes. And Michio would tell my friend every night they'd go out afterwards, he'd go, you must go farther than the teacher. Don't get stuck in the boxes I have to teach. But you teach the step-by-step boxes. Like yoga is fantastic. I still do it. You teach things, but ultimately there's a freedom place that is beyond all the rules. But don't jump there ahead of time. People think with Advaita, I'm going to call this out, there's an Advaita movement. Advaita is a Sanskrit word for oneness. There's no duality, non-duality. Advaita, Advaita. There's a bunch of movement in the current Advaita movement across the planet that is fooling itself. It's trying to jump to oneness before it's ready. If you can dematerialize your body and walk on water, or instantly transport yourself to the other side of the planet through a stargate, a natural stargate, like the masters can, okay, you can talk about Advaita. But if you're doing this mental crapola where you're going, oh, nothing's ever happened, so anything can be misused. This is why teachers, when work with students, you start students exactly where they're at. Where they're at, individually, customized. And learning to eat right, honor, feel the body, do yoga or tai chi or, whatever. All these things are very important. And then at a certain point, the rules are gone. But that's sort of much later for most people, unless you've had lifetimes. Now, I'm not tooting my own ego horn here, but when I was 19, I remembered those yoga things. So I'd done a lot of that, in other times. So some of us are coming in now. You have the ahas. You go, yeah, I get it, But the key is the application, the body and the emotions need to be up to speed, because the mental understanding is just understanding the real truth. It is not really understanding the real truth. So the key is, how do you really feel about that? Can you become as little children? Every teacher says it. Krishna, Jesus, I mean, they're pretty damn straight about it. Here they are, masters. They can dematerialize their bodies. Unless you become as little children, you will not enter the kingdom of heaven. That is the opposite of politics, fucking hiding shit everywhere, or spiritual people thinking they know stuff because they, that's no. The highest teaching is out of the babe's mouth, the innocence. Into the no scent. In no sense are we born. And then begins the earthly sojourn. So for this, my interest has been personally. First, I care about me. Forget everybody else. I want my own awakening, my own enlightenment. That's not selfish. That's just smart. Being a teacher is the booby prize. Being a teacher sucks, if that's what you think you are. As a byproduct, sharing, yeah, beautiful. Some are meant to be public, and for some reason I am this lifetime. Like one of my good partners is completely off the radar, but he's a multi-dimensional master. American guy too, but he's not going to put his face on YouTube. Him and I have conversations. I do. Why am I doing this? But that's because it feels right for me. So real spiritual awakening, and it's not kamikaze, it's not, it is ego confrontational, but there is a grace, a sweetness, love. Real masters have tenderness, they have caring. That doesn't mean it's going to be easy. There's going to be times when you're going to have to swim across the pool yourself. They're teaching you to swim, but they're going to back off and go, you got to face that thing yourself. We're here. If you get in trouble, we'll pull you out, but you got to do it. That's how you teach kids, and that's how you teach souls. They got to learn to ride the bike themselves. So,
but basically, when you're ready, you know, it's not something that you have to, let's say, work on it. It in a way,
just happen.
Yeah.
It'll occur.
Yeah.
It's the time. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I'm having fun with this. My personal journey first, and then let all the other things be added to it. We created the earth. We created bodies. We created emotions. We created children, puppies, flowers, oceans, surfboards, to enjoy them. But to keep in mind or heart that the source is the ultimate delicacy. Then you can taste all these goodies. And it's only when we, of course, put the material goodies first, we get feedback. It's like guitar. If you hook it up to the speakers and you just let it feed back into the humbuckers, you get a horrible screeching noise and you can blow your amps. Right?
Yeah.
If you forget that you're in charge, that you have to put source God first, seek, all that, right? Thou shalt have no other gods before me. Me. Finding God in me. It's all there. But so basically the earth is going through an experiment of idolatry, or, putting our power into things, and it has to fail us. It has to hurt. It has to go bad. We have to be mortal. We have to die. We have to have disease. We have to have wars. That's just feedback. That's just the airplane pilot sitting in the cockpit with 500 lights. Then they're all just giving him feedback. That's all that is. Once we go center, one full conscious breath, my heart, my belly. Once you start living out of your spinal column, primary river of life, it becomes enjoyable and enjoyable. Enjoining. And this is It's the same teaching that's always been taught by every master. It's basically the exact same teaching. And I do it because it feels good to me, and I love people, and I like them, and I'm harsh. I just recently told a few people I've worked with for a long time, I got a little harsh with them, or strong, ego confrontation. So it's just like raising kids, all of us. I get that way from God. I'm just how do you teach people God? How do you teach me? Okay, that's the way to do it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Source knows what it's doing. And so it's just a giant feedback system we're getting with, including the weather, including tornadoes, including everything. It's just that once humans get their center back, all things fall into place.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's a bunch of us here on the planet that know that, and there's a whole bunch of people that are coming here to teach, but also to learn themselves. Like a lot of ET souls that are here, or star seeds or whatever they think. I work with them too. And I'm not saying I'm finished, but I'm a little farther maybe along the path, but I'm not where Jesus is at, or Krishna or Shiva, I'm a little bit, where Yogananda is or whatever, right? But, and who cares? Keeping track is sort of linear crapola. There's a new model of enlightenment coming too, by the way. The old Hindu thing, or the old yogic thing about rising out, instead of ascending, it's more like expanding.
Mm-hmm. Here, I think at this point it's great if I ask you something,
All right.
I heard, and in a way I felt it, that the chakras and the kundalini is actually also a program.
Sure.
That in the reality, let's say the heart is something that we should concentrate on.
I don't believe in chakras.
Yeah.
Sure, chakras are made up. Sure.
Okay.
But the thing is, you can't leapfrog that. As this information comes, you've got to go. There's no way around it. If you've created karma, for yourself, if it's happening, how are you feeling exactly in the moment? What are you experiencing exactly in the moment? That's where the rubber meets the road.
Mm-hmm.
If you try to go, well, it should be different. It's just made up, and the sun doesn't really exist. That's just a concept. Yeah, good luck with that. You're going to get spanked really hard. But yeah, ultimately, chakras are totally made up, of course, because initially we're a point of consciousness. And this is a model too, but this is one I like at the moment, and it helps people sometimes. There's a point of consciousness beyond space-time. First of all, can we even imagine that? A 0 point. I am a 0 point in the 6th dimension. I'm both the white hole and the black hole.
Yeah.
That's a model. And then in the 5th dimension, maybe, I'm a sphere. Everybody's into orbs. Let's get pictures of orbs. 98% of that stuff is just water droplets and dust, but there's some real stuff. Again, learning to discern is the huge teaching here. And that's why spiritual charlatans and fake gurus and all that stuff is allowed, because people need to go through about 10 cults before they start realizing, I got to do this myself. Right? So we learn the hard way still. The vast majority of the population is learning through pain and suffering still.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But so in the 5th dimension, we're an orb. What's the most basic shape in the universe? What shape do planets and stars take?
Mm-hmm.
I've never seen a tetrahedral sun or a square planet or a cube, So the orbs, yeah, that makes sense. That kind of makes sense. And then that orb that contains everything in it, like separates into 5 or 7 or 9 or 144, whatever model you want. Mm-hmm. Other orbs, red, green, red, orange, red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet. Yeah, that's true. It's a real model. Now, if you have shamans in the Amazon, say, the rainbow body. They talk about it. The Incas, the Quechua, Shipibos. And if you go to Tibet, and they talk about the rainbow body. And other traditions do it, Okay, there's some collective truth to it. But it's not the final truth. Exactly. But so, again, I warn against, or I caution for people to go, Well, chakras are all made up. We don't even have them. Yeah, but if you're doing that from your head and your ego, you're going to lose. Again, one of those things that Jesus says, okay, that's true. Now go chop the wood and carry the water. Right? Right? Yeah. So one of the best ways, in my view, and what I do and what I do with myself is feel your exact energy field. It's called field because you're supposed to feel it.
Interesting point.
Yeah. And you feel your root chakra. You feel your heart. You feel your belly. You feel all of them. But the main thing, you could just go into sensing. But get real to heal. Get real to heal. Meaning, what exactly are you feeling right now in the moment? Not theories about the future. Not theories about how chakras work or don't work, or if they're real or not. What are you sensing and feeling right now? That cuts through the bullshit. Because that's real for you. You're having real experience. That's the safety place. Because we can create gapped creations, like fantasies, or thought belief systems and patterns, and start Scientology, or I don't know, start Buddhism or something. Buddha was not a Buddhist. You've heard it. Jesus was not a Christian. Krishna was not a Hindu. You know, those are all belief systems that our minds make up. And that tends to be the hall of mirrors. You can't get out. Or, you know, you're always reflecting stuff back at you. Insanity. The insane asylum. The mind, without learning to sense and be. And one of the best ways of doing that is what I call the inner body, feeling your inner body. When humans fell from direct connection, you could call it, like our dogs are still connected, most of them, unless we really traumatize them. But wild animals are connected. They don't have a choice. It's not an option. This is what's happening, right? This is it. It's just, no, I want to think about this for about 3,000 lifetimes and theorize about why are there animals and why is it this way. No, they don't even go there. It's just a waste of time, right? And most of history for humans is this. Like I said, it's a Rorschach test. It's a reflection. It's beautiful in a sense, but it's also a lot of pain and suffering. But one way to cut through that is to go, so Shiva invented 108 techniques. He's a real being. One of them is to feel your inner energy body. It doesn't lie to you, just like children and dogs don't lie to you. Your own energy, if you're in touch with it. What are you sensing? What are you feeling right now? And it cuts through everything. It's the little story. Uncle, the emperor has no clothes. It takes a little boy, the innocence, to go, you're all hypnotized. The guy's fucking fat and naked, right? And that's why you can have people start World War III or World War I or II, or sell us GMO crapola, or, you know, do chemtrails because we're asleep. We're hypnotized. And so one way to not get hypnotized is to go, how does that feel to you? Are you willing to stand up in front of 300 people and go, hey, I don't like it. It doesn't sound right to me. I want a bunch of anarchists. That's what I want. A divine, free-thinking, honest feeling chaos followers. That's beautiful divine chaos. You know? We can trust that.
Yeah.
So I'm interested in one of the ways to do that, to feel your energy body and your emotions directly. And then the bliss and the comforter that Jesus talks about, the kundalini, the magic, the synchronicities, the things materializing for no reason, all start, you can have magic in the midst of a total matrix world. I'll just tell right now, going down to do ayahuasca in Sacred Valley in Peru, we go 3-4 times a year. And I don't push ayahuasca. For the right people, it's awesome, but you don't need to do ayahuasca. But I was sitting on the plane from Dallas to Lima, and I come to about 3 hours into the flight, and there's a woman sitting like a couple feet away from me, looking at me, smiling. Takes me a minute, and I go, oh, okay, she's probably coming to the retreat, you know, because she's seen my face on YouTube or something. And sure enough, Pernilla from Denmark, beautiful lady, and she's been going through major awakening. She had a near-death experience in an operation, and she's just, the angels are talking to her. Amazing. Well, there's so much grace. Now, airports are kind of tough, right? They're kind of harsh, you know, and stressed for most people and stuff, right? And they're kind of like everybody's got their defenses up or whatever, right? We're at the Lima airport, South American airport on top of it. They can be even more chaotic, right? And all of a sudden, my angels say, stop. As I'm walking through the main place where everyone's lining up to get, go get on the flights or to get their boarding passes. Angels say, stop, look down next to my foot, because we've just been talking about easy manifestation. I'm using this example just to break through our matrix condition. We look down, there's $100 bill right next to my foot. In the middle of an airport with 1,000 people walking around. And I go, well, that's cool. There you go. I got a picture of it to show people. Now, this has happened to me before, you know. It's a fluid reality. And so we just had fun with it. And then we're sitting waiting for our flight to Cusco, and the portals start melting because she's so open. She's had a near-death experience recently, and it's kind of like Eckhart Tolle. You know, you come back, you're all fresh and newly scrubbed and all happy and free. And which, by the way, people, if you've had those experiences, it's not the end of the story. As you know, sometimes the reality starts kicking back in and you get confused again a little bit. This is normal process. But we're sitting in the middle of the airport, and just the stargate's opening up, and I feel what I usually do when I do soul sessions with people, which is sort of we enter the timeless space for people. It's happening right in the airport. And there's a grandma there with her daughter and 2 little Oriental kids, and there's a big Japanese population in Peru. And all of a sudden, Grandma gets so affected by her space that she gets in the lotus position and starts meditating right across from us. There's Grandma with her daughter and grandkids. It just starts happening in the middle of the airport. Amazing. So it becomes beautiful. Our realities are flexed. $100 bills. Thank you, angels. I don't know why. We split the money. There you go. Cool. All right. We'll give it to them. And so that's how masters live. That's why when Saint Germain, the real one, not the fake one, again, there's always fake ones and fake channelers and all that shit. You need to learn to discern. I met Saint Germain a bunch of times. He would just open his hands, and whatever he needed was there. He created diamonds for Louis the Sun King, the French. They were all into pearls at the time. But Saint Germain created the diamonds, the idea of diamonds. One point he manifested 13 bodies to walk in through Versailles, through the doors for King Louis. Who knows why? But he showed me one time, he said, Tobias, if you can relax enough, that's how masters live. Does Jesus have a social security card? Of course not. Does he pay taxes? Bullshit. Of course not. Do they have plenty of money? Yeah, they do. They have no problems with that. This is eminently possible, but it's not easy. You've got to de-matrix yourself. You've got to de-addict yourself. But it is possible, and it's becoming more and more possible now. I live a crazy life compared to most people. Oh, they go, wow, how'd you do that? I go, well, you have to relax and trust God. That's the short answer, But it's totally possible. We're just de-addicting ourselves. We're going through heroin detox. It's called Matrix and Truman Show detox, right? And millions of people are waking up. I'm such a privileged position because people come to me. I get Buddhist monks. I get 19-year-old kids. I get, the whole spectrum of souls that are here waking up. It's really an amazing, beautiful time. And there's enough humans now that have had enough of the control garbage that this planet will not go into a controlled prison planet, a free-range human farm, Now, still the majority of people are still under the matrix, but there's enough of a dent, and there's going to be a battle a bit, fighting for it and this and that, but there's a real awakening happening on Earth, a real one now, not getting stuck in your head, but awakening your cells, your physical body, and your emotional body, because they need to carry the bottom end. It's like if you don't have bass and drums, the band's not happening, right? We need the full spectrum, and that's what we're creating on humans on Earth, humans that will be wise, because we have fallen. We know what that's like, separation. But we come back to the second innocence, which Jesus learned in the Great Pyramid of Giza, by the way, the being born again. That's where he got that concept from. And we are now, in the words of Saint Pete Townsend from The Who, we got on our knees and pray that we don't get fooled again. There's enough people on Earth that have been fooled many times, incarnations, and we've tried all kinds of cults and teachings and this and that. Now we want something real for us personally and collective. A new money system, free energy, etc., new ways of relationships, raising kids, education. It's all coming. It's an awesome time, but there's going to be some death of the old system, collapsing of the old cabals. So this is an awesome time, but my interest is to give people personal tools so that you can keep your house, your temple, clean and connected and hooked up.
Okay.
Because that's going to be the key to safely survive the transition here for individuals.
So now we're going to finish the first part, and in the second part we're going to talk about you coming to Slovenia, and you're going to talk about the tools that you're going to teach, tools that you're going to show. Okay.
Sure. Yeah.
So for everyone, wish you a good day, and again, check the second part. See you. Bye.
2. All right, cool.